insisting that no, we needed comprehensive legislation or some version thereof to get the tools that were going to be required to keep this problem from persisting. Why was that not so, sir?
We didn't really need new laws. We needed a new president. And, that's what Trump had said. And there's actually a lot of truth to that, because prospective illegal immigrants and their smugglers aren't some kind of, irresistible force or, superheroes or something. They're regular people making rational calculations. And probably the most important thing, other than just Trump's rhetoric, it's like, oh my God, the bad orange man is here, we better stop. A policy change, the fundamental one, is that they stopped letting everybody go at the border. If you're not going to spend all that money and take all that risk, if you're just going to end up in detention and they're going to send you home anyway. Biden was just letting everybody go. Once you stop that, the only people who are going to keep trying are the real hard cases. And, you need to stop them, and it's labor intensive, but you don't have the kind of flood that we did for 4 years under Biden.
And on the point about enforcement of the laws, we're hearing a lot about the efforts by ICE, Customs and Border Patrol, other law enforcement agencies, National Guard even in some cases, working the problem of trying to remove people here illegally. Talk to us about the state of that effort as you see it, sir.
Yeah, see, that's the other side of the coin, if you will. In other words, the administration has done a very good job of basically turning off the faucet. But they now have to mop up the, flow from the overflow of the bathtub, to continue the metaphor. And they're, making significant progress there. Most of it, from our research, is people leaving on their own, illegal immigrants who were kind of concluding that the party's over and they better get out quick. Our research through July, from January through July, suggests, using Census Bureau data, that the number of foreign-born people, legal or illegal, has declined by 2.2 million, and that of that, 1.6 million were illegal immigrants. So the number's gone up since, obviously. But our research director has looked at that question from a bunch of different angles, and it does seem to be a real thing, not just illegal immigrants not answering the surveys or something. They do that, actually, believe it or not.
So these are people who are self-deporting?
Self-deporting. Some of those are actual ICE deportations, but the large majority are self-deportations. That's what the administration is counting on, and one of the reasons they have such publicity about this is to try to send the message to get people to leave on their own. The one thing that they need to now ramp up is employment-based enforcement, too. They need to perp walk some employers that are knowingly hiring illegal immigrants, send the message that it's not just murderers and rapists that we're looking for. Those are the first priority, but that regular, ordinary illegal aliens need to put their affairs in order and go home as well.
And by shaming, essentially, people who are giving them employment, the theory would
punishing,
be that,
hopefully, more than shaming.
Well, it starts with, I guess,
right.
The shaming as part of the punishment, but yes.
Right.
And this would hopefully cause others to cease and desist in that practice as well, creating a new impetus for people to self-deport, I take it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because, look, most employers aren't crooks. I mean, I'm an employer, I come from a line of small businessmen. People are, most employers, they want to just know what the rules are and be able to follow the rules. It needs to become clear that the rules are now what the law says, rather than the kind of wink and nod, nudge, nudge, know what I mean, kind of non-enforcement that prevailed in the past. When we do that, you're going to see real self-deportation increase.
This is a tremendously important point. Mark, we have to take a short break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about one of the other things that is compounding the problem, and that is sanctuary cities, and whether we're about to see New York City become one of a whole new class. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more with Mark Krikorian of the Center for Immigration Studies right after this.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. At Camp Owigaway, a Christian summer camp filled with adventure and camaraderie, kids come together for experiences that challenge and inspire them. Between canoe races, campfires, and heartfelt conversations, they form deep friendships and uncover new layers of their faith and identity. Each day at camp offers opportunities for personal growth, connection, and unforgettable memories.
Come on, pick it up. Let's go. I can't be the only one pumped to go read a Bible in the middle of the woods for a week.
If you need a hand with packing, we're here to help.
Thank God.
A troubled teenager takes a leap of faith to attend Camp Owigaway in this series directed by Alan Powell, and a cast that stars Antonio Cipriano, David Koechner, Lee Ellen Baker, and Carlos Penavega. It has music from the same producers who created High School Musical and Camp Rock.
3, 2, 1, more
Why am I here? It's the question we're all asking ourselves.
This action-packed fun series will have you asking, why am I here? And what is my purpose? The series streams exclusively on Angel Studios platform, so the best way to see this new series is by joining the Angel Guild, a community of over 1 million members that have a vested voice in what series and films get greenlit by Angel. This means that Owigaway was voted on by members of the Guild to move forward. So becoming a Guild member is like being a member of the Television Academy, and you'll get all the perks from the comfort of your own home. So head on over to angel.com/RAV to join the Guild and watch Owigaway today.
Through every storm, every moment of uncertainty,
Everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now.
Rav has stood strong.
We're not going to tolerate this stuff anymore.
Turn that anger into motivation to save this nation.
When we move together, there is power.
The cries of this widow will echo like a battle cry.
Welcome back. We are visiting with Mark Krikorian, a man whose insights and expertise and dogged tenacity when it comes to matters involving immigration I have admired greatly for many years, as I have his organization, the Center for Immigration Studies. You can find it at CIS.org. You can find his books on Amazon. He's got a number of them. The New Case Against Immigration being one. How Obama Transformed America Through Immigration being another. There are many others. And Mark, I wanted to talk to you about transforming America through sanctuary cities. What the historic impact has been of, I think in every case, Democratic mayors. In some cases, Democratic governors have done this with states, I believe. But certainly mayors have. And now we have this fellow, Zoran Mamdani, a communist as well as jihadist, making no bones about what he intends to do to be welcoming of immigrants, he being one of them, after all. Talk a little bit about this particular aspect of the immigration security problem.
The sanctuary city, people misunderstand this. Sanctuary city or state, as you suggested, or county, isn't a place that says, okay, our police will not go around checking people's papers. ICE doesn't want the police to be going around and saying, hey, Paco, where's your green card? What they want is the jurisdictions to let ICE know when they're done whatever they're going to do with people they arrest for normal reasons. They're driving drunk, beating their wives, dealing drugs. They're arrested for that. Their fingerprints all go to DHS now, as well as the FBI, so they know if this guy's an illegal. A sanctuary city says, no, we are not. We are going to release these people back into American communities. It's specifically designed to protect criminals. And it's outrageous. And the thing is that we've our estimate is that a slight majority of all the illegal immigrants live in sanctuary jurisdictions. So how is ICE supposed to, do its job if the main way that illegal immigrants come in contact with the authorities is foreclosed to them? And so this is a serious problem. The new or elected mayor of New York has said he's going to tighten even further their sanctuary policies. Interestingly, the current governor, Eric Adams, actually kind of loosened up a little bit and has been cooperating to a limited degree with ICE. Again, with regard to people they've arrested for murder and what have you, to hand them over when they're finished with them, whatever they're going to do with them. The interesting thing is, will Mamdani presume to try to arrest ICE agents doing their jobs? That'll be interesting, and that would force a constitutional crisis, I think, in the same way that his pledge to arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu if he comes to the UN. It's the same kind of thing. It's not going to happen. Frankly, that's the way a mayor ends up getting arrested himself. But it does send a message to illegal immigrants that this is a place you should stay.
And Mark, among those, I fear, will be, jihadis. I mean, this is a mayor, actually, a Sharia supremacist, convert to Islam. Convert, actually, as you know, I'm sure, to the Shia death cult known as Twelverism, which thinks that we ought to have the apocalypse to bring back the Mahdi, the 12th Imam, the golden age of Islam, and so on. I mean, it's terrifying to think about the kind of people who he might provide safe haven to, who seek such, diabolical, missions and end states. To the extent that there are, in fact, in part, as a result of Joe Biden's open border policy, not only possibly millions of immigrants who embrace this doctrine of Sharia and seek to impose it upon our country. But there was also, by some estimates, and I'd be very appreciative of your best guess, I've heard numbers as low as 10,000, as high as 200,000 individuals who are believed to be Chinese soldiers who've gotten into this country through those open borders as well. What are your thoughts about those threats, sir? And why don't we hear more about trying to remove such people, find them, first of all, I guess, and remove them as well?
See, the thing with these kind of threats, whether they're, Chinese spies, jihadists, or any other kind of malefactors, if we knew which ones they were, in other words, if they had some kind of patch on their head saying, I'm a member of the People's Liberation Army, even Biden wouldn't have let them in. I mean, but we have no idea. And so this is the point I try to make to people who talk about sanctuary and the rest of it, is that we don't know who the ordinary illegal aliens are versus the, malign, dangerous illegal aliens, or even just criminals and gang members, let alone Chinese spies or jihadists. You have to have enforcement across the board if you're going to weed out those people. This idea that we're going to focus on just the Chinese agents, it's a recipe for non-enforcement, inaction, and failure. You have to enforce the rules across the board so that you also get the gang members, the spies, the terrorists. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're not providing security. It's, national security is indivisible, I guess, is one way to put it. You have to go after everybody in order to uproot and remove the malignant actors, as well as the dishwashers and the drywall hangers. We don't know which one is which.
No, I take the point, but I think if you're looking for mostly Hispanic dishwashers and lawn people, for example, and you are not making the point to the American people that we're also worrying about large numbers of military-age, unaccompanied men of apparent Chinese extraction, who are perhaps as well, in groups, and that's a problem. then this whole idea of see something, say something seems to me to be somewhat doomed to failure. And more to the point, the possibility of sort of crowdsourcing the situational awareness that we need to enforce the laws and protect the country is being missed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. And the administration does need to highlight that. They've highlighted the gang issue, maybe not as much the terrorist issue, although they did just, I think, recently arrest an illegal alien truck driver. This was, part of this crackdown on the truck drivers. Guy turns out to be an Uzbek wanted terrorist back in his home country. But that's my point. Regular enforcement is the way you end up nabbing these people, especially in employment enforcement, all of it. So you got to enforce it across the board, not just pick and choose.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right, Mark, and you've been very clear about that. And we are facing, unfortunately, I guess, the harsh reality that you've got limited resources, and especially when you find them running into interference at every turn, you've got an even greater challenge than otherwise. And lastly, drug trafficking. How instrumental are the cartels to what is continuing to come across that border? Human trafficking, child trafficking, and the like. Has that also come to pretty much a halt?
From what I've seen, fentanyl trafficking is down, but meth and heroin and other things is the cartels are seeking to replace it with that, because in a sense fentanyl became the drug of the day, and that everybody was focusing attention on it. And so these guys are businessmen, and they're saying, okay, well, let's move something else. But clearly, if it's harder to get across the border, it's going to be harder to move dope and other things, because regular people storming across the border are also cover for all kinds of bad things.
Mark, we have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for your efforts. CIS.org is the website for Mark Krikorian. Check it out, please, and support his great work. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, folks.
Great News America, Real America's Voice is now on YouTube.
We are the media now.
That means you can watch live, join the chat, and connect with fellow patriots in real time.
Share.
Your voice matters, and this is your chance to be part of the conversation shaping our nation.
God bless all of you.
So don't wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and tune in to Real America's Voice on YouTube today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Flashosaurus in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Bridgie. And why do I love Rob? Well, even out here in the cornfields of Iowa, I still need news I can depend on. That is Real America's Voice.
back, and I am delighted to say, always, Rod Martin is back as well. Rod Martin is, of course, the founder and the chairman of the board of our Institute for the American Future, which I'm very proud to be the president. He is an incredibly free-range minded individual who now is the proprietor, in addition to all of that, of the Rod Martin Report, which you can find at rodmartin.org. He is an entrepreneur and businessman as well, who cut his teeth with Peter Thiel in the PayPal mafia, but he, before that, worked as a policy advisor to then Governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, the man, in short, of many parts, including a longtime leader of the Southern Baptist Convention. We're always delighted to have a chance to pick his brains, considerable brains at that. Welcome back, Rod. Good to have you, my friend.
Good to be here.
So I wanted to start with some thoughts of my own on the subject that I want to turn to with you first. It was something you discussed with Eric Metaxas recently, and very impressively. It concerns what's been happening to our conservative movement, for want of a better term, MAGA, the base, the right, however you describe it. What has been taking place, I think, is nothing short of a sort of fratricide at a very unfortunate time. We've got conservatives who agree on some things and disagree on other things, now increasingly finding that they don't seem to agree on much at all, and that in their disagreements there is a kind of bitterness that is poisonous, I'm afraid, certainly for a movement more needed now, arguably, than ever. Some of the disagreements revolve around Israel, its importance to our country, its importance, of course, to the Jewish people, but also its importance to Western civilization. And I'd want to be absolutely clear about this. I don't think we can overstate the importance of Israel to Western civilization, as well as to our own interests, particularly in the Middle East. And I find it difficult to state with sufficient conviction that I pray that those who are seeing things otherwise will think better of their position as it becomes more and more untenable by the day. Rod Martin, you talked a bit about this with Eric Metaxas, and your clarity on the kinds of, well, at best, willful blindness, and at worst, I think, a kind of dishonesty, is characterizing the positions of those who are finding fault with Israel and disregarding its importance to us. Walk us through your thinking on this, sir, if you would.
Well, we have a lot of friends who are theologically committed to Israel for one reason or another. We have a growing number of friends, and in some cases not friends, who have a theological argument with the first group, and therefore Israel is evil. And you just look at that, and honestly, I just shake my head. Israel is like every other country that we have any business with. We don't agree religiously with Japan if we're Christians. We don't agree religiously with France, honestly, if we're Christians. So, but we get along. We can be friends. We can love our neighbors as ourselves. We can make meaningful alliances. We can have meaningful trade deals. There's nothing wrong with any of that. And, for some of our pastors on one side to take this vehement anti-Israel position because they don't agree with Mike Huckabee's eschatology just boggles my mind. I mean, I don't agree with lots of countries for lots of reasons, some of them theological, that those people seem to want to give a pass. So, for example, We're constantly told that somehow the tail is wagging the dog. This country of 9.5 million people controls the whole world, and certainly Donald Trump. I haven't noticed that Donald Trump is capable of being controlled by anybody. I think if the last 4 years showed us anything, it's that literally nobody can control Donald Trump. And Donald Trump has spent a lifetime telling us he's pro-Israel. So why are these folks all of a sudden in an uproar about Donald Trump doing exactly what Donald Trump promised he would do? And more to the point, look, Israel is a capitalist, free enclave in a sea of tyrants. Everyone around them has fewer rights than Arabs do in Israel. There's no question about this. They have become a technology powerhouse. This idea that somehow they're dependent on U.S. aid is honestly, at best, 40 years out of date, and second, just absurd. The money that does go to Israel almost entirely never gets to Israel. It goes to General Dynamics and Boeing as grants to help them buy things, largely in exchange for things they're doing for us, like the joint development work on Iron Beam and so forth, but also all our dirty work in the Middle East. The idea that Donald Trump got dragged into the war against Iran? Are you kidding? Donald Trump set it up where the Israelis do all the hard stuff and then we show up for a grand finale. And again and again and again, you see this, and it reflects just a level of nonsense that is hard to grasp apart from, of course, Qatari money.
Well, that's the point I wanted to get to, Rod. It seems as though nonsense doesn't begin to describe
Yes.
the impetus behind this. I'm sure there's some of it, obviously, but
Some of it, yes.
to the extent that we are witnessing an aggressive influence operation by this nation of Qatar, which has more money than it knows what to do with, but what it seems to be principally interested in doing with it is trying to advance the jihad and take down those opposed to its success. And one of the ways in which that is playing out, as best I can tell, is, buying off, for want of a better term, some prominent conservative influencers. To a point where it does get into that space where it seems rather virulently anti-Israel, not just sort of an argument about our priorities, domestic and otherwise. Your thoughts?
Well, the thing is, if Qatar weren't doing it, George Soros or Reid Hoffman would be. This is the thing. We're constantly treated to this idea that there's this sea of Israeli money in American politics, but the numbers are pretty clear. In a ranking of numbers 1 through 10 countries by expenditures to influence American politicians and citizens in America, Open Secrets has Israel in 10th place. The Chinese are ahead, Qatar is ahead, Saudi Arabia is ahead. Get this, the Bahamas are ahead. Everybody is ahead of Israel. And why wouldn't they lobby in the United States? It's not illegal to lobby in the United States. We have this crazy newfangled thing called the First Amendment. So yeah, they have interests here against people who are outspending them dramatically to try to turn American opinion against them. They're spending money to try to keep people in support of them. Okay, that's all fine. That's called a marketplace of ideas. Now, if you could show they were bribing politicians or something, that'd be fine. We should put those people in jail. But wouldn't you have to start with Eric Swalwell? Wouldn't you have to start with all these Democrats who are in bed with the Chinese Communist Party? And I don't hear any people attacking China. None of these people are questioning the DNA of the Han Chinese in the way that they suddenly are about Jews. And I just keep coming back to, first of all, that's been completely debunked. The science claiming that Jews in Israel aren't the same as Jews 2,000 years ago is just obscene anti-Semitism. There's no science to it, but it's more than that. A Jew is anybody who wants to be a Jew, just like a Baptist is anybody who wants to be a Baptist. We don't do a DNA check on Baptists. That's just silly. So, the kinds of arguments being marshaled sound like they come straight out of Goebbels, and it's just horrifying to watch. And it really, I'm not saying we should cancel anybody. That's not true. I want to give them enough exposure that we can hear how obscene their arguments actually are and reject them.
Yeah. And I guess the question that occurs, Rod, is are the folks that such individuals seem to be particularly appealing to, namely the younger cohort of Americans, able to determine from that exposure that these folks are acting in an obscene way, that what they're saying and what they're recommending, what they're calling for, vis-a-vis Israel and for that matter vis-a-vis the United States, is beyond the appalling. It's totally unacceptable. I want to explore this with you on the other side of the break, because I think this is really a critical issue for our time. Have we lost the youth of our country, or are they susceptible to making sensible, responsible decisions once they understand actually what people are trying to do here, Goebbels-esque especially? We'll be talking about all of that and much more with Rod Martin on the other side of this short break. Please stay tuned.
Great News America, Real America's Voice is now on YouTube.
We are the media now.
That means you can watch live, join the chat, and connect with fellow patriots in real time.
Share.
Your voice matters, and this is your chance to be part of the conversation shaping our nation.
God bless all of you.
So don't wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and tune in to Real America's Voice on YouTube today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Flashosaurus in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Bridgie. And why do I love Rob? Well, even out here in the cornfields of Iowa, I still need news I can depend on. That is Real America's Voice.
We're back, and so is Rod Martin. Praise the Lord. Follow his great work at rodmartin.org and support the work of the organization that he founded, the Institute for the American Future, at usfuture.org. as one of its employees, I will be very appreciative. Rod, let me just drill down a little bit. Tucker Carlson is an individual who has been doing some, I think, very troubling platforming of another individual, notably, well, several of them. We had the Qatari prime minister, I believe, and the Iranian president, I think it was, and then more recently some historians of some disrepute. But Nick Fuentes is a name that I had not heard, frankly, until fairly recently, and for 2.5 hours Tucker showcased him and some of his ideas. I'm not sure that they were fully on display in that performance. It seemed as though he was tempering his rhetoric a bit, but the more you're exposed to it, and I find it a kind of soiling experience, honestly, the more it's evident he really falls into that category of reprehensible people that you're talking about. What are your thoughts about the seeming affinity of an awful lot of young Americans to the kind of worldview, shall we say, the kind of anti-Semitic, the kind of pro-Nazi even attitudes that Fuentes seems to embrace?
Well, I just want to start by saying I don't have any problem with Tucker platforming Nick Fuentes. I just wish Tucker had actually interviewed him with the vigor, shall we say, that he did Ted Cruz. I mean, all he did was throw softballs at Fuentes, and when Fuentes outright says, I think Stalin is cool, Tucker just let it go. Never came back to it, never asked to follow up at all. I'm sorry, Stalin wasn't cool. Stalin murdered 20 million of his own people and proceeded to take over every country he was in reach of, where further millions died, including China, where 65 million were killed by their communist government. There is nothing cool about that at all. But Nick Fuentes will tell you Hitler was also cool. And, all these people are cool. Okay. That's a problem for me. I don't need to know what he thinks about Israel. You can guess, but I don't even need to know. I just need to know that he's a communist. He is a communist who dresses himself up in just enough free market and pro-American trappings to be able to pretend he's on the right. But he's not. He's a communist. And not only is he a communist, he's a pretty reprehensible person. I mean, just look at the other things he's pushing. This is a guy who, there's honestly just no limit to how bad it is. Now, is he pro-masculinity? Yes, but he's also misogynistic. Is he pro-Trump? Well, yes, after the election, but before the election, he was posting, over and over again about how we have to do whatever we can to stop Trump. So he speaks with forked tongue. He just wants to tell you enough, like the devil, to get you to listen, and then he slips in the poison. And I don't understand why Tucker Carlson didn't interview him properly. I think a retarded fifth grader could have interviewed him better than Tucker did.
Well, and again, it's fitting a pattern. The same kind of softball approach was taken with the Iranian and with the Qatari and with some of these other characters as well, which gives, again, a certain legitimization to them all.
Again, is fine as, to the degree that it's letting them get their side out. I don't have a problem with someone interviewing the Ayatollah. I want to hear what the Ayatollah thinks. I want to hear what Saddam Hussein thought or Adolf Hitler thought. Those are reasonable things. When I hear Vladimir Putin, I know more about what's going on in Russia. Of course, his spin is on it, but if we're sitting here, we're, giving it our spin too. I don't have a problem with that. I believe in the marketplace of ideas, but I know that if I were the one being interviewed, I would be getting hit harder than Nick Fuentes got or than Vladimir Putin got. And I think there's a real fundamental problem with that, not with the interview, but with the interviewer.
Amen. Let me turn to something you've written about at rodmartin.org, and that is that President Trump's hemispheric strategy is actually part of a two-front approach to containing communist China. You're a member of our Committee on the Present Danger of China. As you know, we're rather big on rolling back China, not just containing it. But talk us through the theory of these pieces that you're talking about, the two-front aspects of this conflict.
Well, Donald Trump grasps that if you can't handle your own backyard, you can't handle anything else. And we used to understand that. We actually understood that for most of American history. We have gotten very slack in the last, not just years, but several decades. And we have let China and Russia and Iran in particular have meaningful, dangerous presences in places like Venezuela and Cuba, which is just unconscionable. And we've let China own the ports at both ends of the Panama Canal, which is just unconscionable. And we've let China move into a position where it could end up exploiting the mining rights in Greenland, which is just unconscionable. So Donald Trump has addressed all of those things quite aggressively since even before he took office again. And that's essential, that's foundational to American grand strategy globally.
This is, I think, at the core of the question that I want to explore with you a bit further. If the president is in fact intent on containing China, Rod, or better yet, rolling it back, and that certainly is the clear implication of what we've learned, for example, from Lee Smith's new book, The China Matrix, that chronicles Trump's attitude towards China over decades, really. I want to explore with you the other piece of his strategy, which is seemingly maintaining the Chinese Communist Party in business, and, you know, doing deals with them on, well, rare earths, among other things. If we, in fact, do really have a deal with them on that. I'll talk about it with Rod Martin. Please stay tuned.
Great news, America. Real America's Voice is now on YouTube.
We are the media now.
That means you can watch live, join the chat, and connect with fellow patriots in real time.
Share.
Your voice matters, and this is your chance to be part of the conversation shaping our nation.
God bless all of you.
So don't wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and tune in to Real America's Voice on YouTube today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Flashosaurus in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
We're back. We're talking with our free-range-minded friend friend and colleague Rod Martin about the Trump strategy towards China. Is the hemispheric security piece of it part of a larger strategy to contain, or I would prefer to see roll back the Chinese Communist Party, put it, as Ronald Reagan did, the Soviet Party on the ash heap of history? But there's also this other dimension, Rod, that I wanted you to address, if you would, and that is what the president is doing with respect to trade with the Chinese, including trade that seemingly is now being once again restricted by the Chinese. They've said that they are going to deny the use of their rare earth minerals, their processed rare earth minerals, by companies in the United States that are doing business, at least in part, with our military. How does all this come together as a grand strategy, sir? And to what end?
I think Trump learned most of his lessons on these things from Reagan, which has been really remarkable to watch, actually. Obviously, the details differ and the circumstances in the world are very, very different from the 80s. And in most ways, that's a good thing. You know, we're not in danger of being conquered by the Soviet Union tomorrow. And that's definitely a net positive in the world. But what Reagan did, as you know, was not eliminate the Soviet Union by bombing the radar at Krasnoyarsk, or, you know, going after SS-20s, you know, with FB-111s. That wasn't the plan. The plan was to bankrupt them, which he did. And that involved continuing to do business with them, but also constraining their ability to do that business. So you get the deal with the Saudis in '85 that starts collapsing the price of oil, which then, as now, was the source of Soviet hard currency. And all of a sudden, they can't keep up in the arms race. They certainly can't compete with SDI. And, you know, Gorbachev is trying to get the economy to do right, and in the process, he just absolutely broke the entire system. So I think that's what you're seeing here. I think Trump is aware that there are certain things that we have allowed ourselves to be dependent on China for that we're not going to be able to decouple from overnight. And so the continued dialogue makes sense, at least until that point at which we can. And that's in progress. As you saw during the Asian trip, we had a new deal. Well, actually, this was at the White House the week before. We had a new deal with Albanese in Australia, not just for rare earths mining, but processing. So we're taking back some of that refining, which China currently dominates 92% of. The Ukraine deal is about rare earths. The Greenland deal is in part about rare earths. But we're also opening significant facilities in the United States, old mines and new mines that are capable of producing these things. And we're building refining capacity, including a giant new plant in Fort Worth that will take over production of about a third of the rare earths magnets we need. So, you know, and that's just one facility. A lot of this $18 trillion in new investment coming in will go to that. And you just see, you just saw $500 million go from the Pentagon into RP Materials, which is the main producer in the United States, and another $500 million come in an investment from Apple. So we're moving aggressively on this. They're not going to be able to hold this over our heads much longer. And at the same time, the other big pain point, of course, is their dominance of pharmaceuticals. And Trump is moving aggressively on getting pharmaceutical plants built here. So I think over a 4-year period, you see their ability to control events drop significantly.
So for the interim period, though, Rod, General Motors and Tesla have both said that they're going to respond to this threat from the Chinese to restrict companies that do business with the Pentagon by saying, you know, they're ending their supply chain dependency on China. Is that something they can do at this point in time? I mean, I take your point that there's a lot of other things in the works that will give them options in the future, but can we essentially decouple even selectively by such companies now, do you think?
Their stockpiles here and there, their long-term contracts here and there. They're not going to make a pronouncement like that without thinking, at least, that they have it covered. And I don't doubt that they do. If we have a 2-year production hit on F-35s, we've got a bunch of them. The world won't end, and at the other side of that, we're just going to double production. So even if you have that kind of thing, I don't think it materially affects us. But here's what I do know. Scott Bessent was on TV again yesterday saying, if they do mess with us on this, we have a lot of levers on them. And he's not kidding. And we can prove that they actually are susceptible to some of those by virtue of 2 factoids that your audience will appreciate. You know, the first one being that we are still charging China almost 4 times the tariff they're charging us, and Xi Jinping agreed to that. That's remarkable to me. The other thing is Trump really pressed him on Russian oil imports. Obviously, they can't wean off immediately, and obviously there's only so much face they can lose in one shot. But 2 of the largest Chinese oil companies immediately announced that they aren't buying Russian oil anymore. Will they keep their word? Don't know, but that's actually a really big diplomatic shift, even if it doesn't change a lot on the ground. And Putin has to plan for that and deal with that, whether it happens or not. So that materially impacts Putin's ability to continue the war in Ukraine. He is completely energy dependent for funding that war and, frankly, funding his government. And at some point, that starts putting enough hurt on his oligarchs that they start demanding some kind of change, either in his policy or in his position.
Meaning that his days may be numbered in all of this. A fascinating perspective, as usual. You have stretched the envelope of the possible here, and our appreciation to you is likewise greatly expanded as well. Rod Martin, thank you for all that you're doing at rodmartin.org. Thank you for featuring this program and our conversations with you on that platform, as well as your great Rod Martin reports. Subscribe, folks, to them. Come back to us soon. I hope the rest of you do the same next time. Until then, you'll go forth and multiply.
Great News America, Real America's Voice is now on YouTube.
We are the media now.
That means you can watch live, join the chat, and connect with fellow patriots in real time.
Share.
Your voice matters, and this is your chance to be part of the conversation shaping our nation.
God bless all of you.
So don't wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and tune in to Real America's Voice on YouTube today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
card debt is hitting an all-time high in America, and the system is rigged to keep you paying interest forever. But you don't have to be trapped in that cycle. Iconic Debt Relief is helping people reduce their payments and break free of the banks. They explain everything step by step with total transparency. If you've got more than $10,000 in credit card debt, do not wait. Instead, call Iconic Debt Relief right now. It could be the most important call you make this year. Go to iconicdebtrelief.com/RAV-TV or call 833-408-3828. That's 833-408-3828. If you don't want to do any of those things, just scan the QR code right there at the bottom of your screen and follow all of the prompts. Terrence Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. Thanks so much for being along for the ride. We are getting ready for the latest White House press briefing. It's set to get underway here in short order. Here's a live look at the press briefing room. We're expecting that Caroline Leavitt will take the podium here within the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Many of the questions very likely will have to do with the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. There may also be some questions about the economy, specifically as it relates to President Trump's meeting this week, let's just put it that way, with Saudi Arabia's crown prince. And then you can also expect probably some economy questions relative to the cost of Thanksgiving meals this year. We, of course, will take this live for you the moment it happens, so stay tuned here on Real America's Voice. In the meantime, now that President Trump has signed the bill forcing the Justice Department to release all of its files on Jeffrey Epstein, the DOJ has 30 days to comply. The trove of documents should include all files and communications related to the disgraced child predator, as well as any information about the investigation into his death. Some information about victims could be redacted for ongoing federal investigations, but investigators can't withhold information due to, quote, embarrassment, reputational harm, or political sensitivity. A federal judge who has reviewed the case says there are about 100,000 pages to release. Taking to Truth Social after signing the bill, President Trump began naming names and pointing fingers at Democrats who were associates of Epstein. In this Truth Social post, he writes, quote, Democrat figures such as Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, and many more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky meeting with a U.S. Army delegation in Ukraine today. The meeting comes as the Trump administration is out with a 28-point peace plan aimed at ending the war between Russia and Ukraine. The agreement will reportedly see Ukraine give up some of its land and weapons, including cutting the size of Ukraine's military. President Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, along with Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, are said to have been instrumental in drafting this proposal. The plan is just now being presented to Ukrainian officials and reportedly does leave some room for negotiation. This latest attempt at bringing peace to the region comes after Russian missiles and drones just killed at least 25 people in the latest round of fighting. A Chicago man accused of pouring gasoline on a fellow train passenger and lighting her on fire is now charged with terrorism charges this morning. Federal prosecutors say the 50-year-old was caught on surveillance video chasing the 26-year-old victim through the train while trying to ignite her. Chicago police say when they arrested the guy on Tuesday, he made incriminating statements, and during his initial court hearing Wednesday, he also yelled out, "I plead guilty." That's a quote. The plea isn't official at this point. Investigators say that he has a long criminal history and should not have been free to commit this crime. If convicted, the suspect faces up to life in prison. Should the victim die from her injuries, prosecutors say the suspect could be eligible for the death penalty. However, Illinois abolished capital punishment back in 2011. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'm Terrence Bates.
Great news, America. Real America's Voice is now on YouTube.
We are the media now.
That means you can watch live, join the chat, and connect with fellow patriots in real time.
Share.
Your voice matters, and this is your chance to be part of the conversation shaping our nation.
God bless all of you.
So don't wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and tune in to Real America's Voice on YouTube today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
There's always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It sure is. Welcome to it on a Friday, Swan Dive Friday. It's supposed to be Free Speech, Free for All Friday, but it's Swan Dive Friday. We'll get to that in a minute. Live from the shadow of Detroit, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom, and praying to God we're not on the soup line soon. Kicking off another brand new day here on this Free for All Friday. Three big things you need to know. Here's number one. Ukrainian President Zelensky says he's ready to negotiate a peace plan that's being put together by President Trump, and 28 points for peace. We'll see where it goes. Number two, the administration threatening to cut $75 million from the state of Pennsylvania after learning a terror suspect had a pile of illegal commercial driver's licenses from that state. How does that happen? And number three, Zohran Mamdani headed to the White House today. That's right. All eyes will be on him and, of course, President Trump. We're all wondering where that conversation will lead. Trump has made no secret that he is not a fan of Mamdani or socialism, but he's also has a knack of talking to anybody. We'll see what happens there. And with that, let's dive into Free Speech, Free for All Friday. It's your chance to be heard, your chance to get on the record. Free Speech, Free for All Friday, of course, powered by Patriot Mobile's Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Usually it appears right here, and it's going to happen. You watch. See, just like magic, there it is, 877-310-9966. And one more thing. Any active military or retired military, I want your input on the half dozen Democrats that are calling on our war fighters to ignore lawful orders from the Commander-in-Chief and the Secretary of War. President Trump not impressed with that, says it's seditious, and they should be arrested and tried. I don't know where that's going anywhere. And what we've been talking about all morning here already, the swan dive in the markets. Bitcoin's all the way down to 81,000. It's almost down 50%. XRP's worth like 20 cents now. Nvidia, anyhow, if you're retired and you have accounts, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for me today. Just don't look. Avert your eyes. That's where we are with it. So anyhow, I'd like to get you on the line. Edward is first today. He's calling from Vancouver, Washington, up very early on the West Coast. Edward, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, speaking of the stock market, why can't we use the same playbook that we got Martha Stewart and take down some of these congressmen?
Well, why can't we use it's a great question. Why can't we have the same information that all these people have? Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's got this dust up with the president. That's whatever. But she was worth $700,000 in the year 2000, roughly. Worth about $700,000. Today, that number's $25 million. How does that happen, Edward? I didn't go from $500,000 to $25 million, and that's just an example, an easy example. Nancy Pelosi's worth $140 million. How is that?
Well, how is it? Is that it's just so public and nothing's being done?
That's my concern. It's so public, nothing is being done, and it's very disheartening to say the least. Edward, thank you for the call. Greatly appreciated here today. I'm seriously watching. I'm trying to make sure that, we're on the ground floor, but I don't want Anthony jumping out the window today. His investments taking it on the chin, just like everybody else here today. I was talking to a couple of my friends here, Terry Sawchuk from Sawchuk Wealth, saying, everybody relax. It could be a buyer's market soon. Well, that's cool and all. If you had any money left, you could actually go in and buy something. Anyhow, Joe is in Pittsburgh. Joe, how are you today?
Good. Thanks for taking my call. I just wish people would look at the numbers. 42 million people on food stamps. At 59%, you take 10%, multiply that by 5.9%, you come up with 17,220,000 Americans on food stamps. 24,800,000 illegals are getting food stamps. Everything's supply and demand. The higher demand, the higher prices. Lower demand, lower prices. If you could take that for the homes too.
Yeah,
I just wanted to.
I think there's truth to that. You talked about the.
Fill stacks up.
No, I appreciate that, and thank you for the call. Look, we talk about housing in America. There's a housing crisis. Well, yeah, if you bring in 20 million people and let them flood into the country as we did for 4 years under senile Joe Biden, then of course they're going to live in houses. They're going to find a place to live, most of them, and they're going to take up inventory. That creates a problem. It creates more pressure. And then you look at the places that are like resort areas. Good Lord, I was talking to a guy yesterday living in Montana. He said, Bozeman, you get a hovel for $1 million. Bozeman, where I went to college, houses were cheap back then. You could buy a pretty decent house for $50,000. Of course, that was a while ago, but still, that same house worth close to $1 million now. Nothing fancy, just a house. All right, let's go to Texas. Love Texas. Joseph is in Texas. Joseph, how are you?
Hello?
Yeah, Joseph, how are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm all right. How are you doing, Steve? And how's your wife doing?
Everybody's great. What is your question?
Awesome. Well, my question is, I'm concerned about this Mamdani dude because according to Native Prophecy, this guy is going to take this country over, just like they did in England and elsewhere and other countries that they turned into their Swahili carpet-tripping religion and belief, whatever. I consider communism, Marxist communism, but it's disturbing, and I'm frightened and scared about that.
Are you going to watch today?
Falling into that.
Joseph, are you going to watch? Mamdani's going to be in the Oval Office. I think it could get a little sketchy in there, a little tickly. We'll see what happens.
I think he's going to give Trump a lot of lip, and Trump's not going to have it. He's not having that.
Yeah,
I know Trump.
But here's the thing.
He's born in Queens like I was. So I'm a New Yorker originally, so I moved out here to Texas because New York turned to, if you go to New York, you're going to end up tripping over the prayer rugs, if you know what I mean. They're all bound to their.
The problem here's the problem, though, Joseph. Here's the problem. Thank you for the call. The problem is this. Mamdani, and Trump, if they go back and forth, it's not a good situation for the president. And this is why I say that. Mamdani, if he gets rigid, if he gets mouthy, they'll celebrate. He will be the new leader of the Democrat Party if he goes in there and gives Trump a bunch of slack and a bunch of flack. They'll celebrate him in the streets. All right, let's get to Olin in South Carolina. Olin, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. What's up?
Steve, I think our problem in this country is not with each other. Our problem is with the Congress and the Senate, and I think it's time for the American people to descend on Washington and hold these people accountable for what they're doing to this country. That's just like them telling, don't listen to Trump in the military.
By the way,
we stood up to Congress and the Senate.
That is openly calling for insurrection. Don't follow lawful orders.
No, I don't. I'm not saying violence, Steve. I'm saying
I understand what you're saying.
Protest against them to let them know we're tired of the way they're doing the American people.
Thank you, Olin. Greatly appreciate it. Look, 2 senators and several members of Congress saying don't follow unlawful orders without any example whatsoever, because there haven't been any unlawful orders. It's remarkable. Free speech, free for all. Black Friday, maybe. Maybe it's Black Friday. Swan Dive Friday. Whatever it is. We'll be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show.
Great News America, Real America's Voice is now on YouTube.
We are the media now.
That means you can watch live, join the chat, and connect with fellow patriots in real time.
Share.
Your voice matters, and this is your chance to be part of the conversation shaping our nation.
God bless all of you.
So don't wait. Hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and tune in to Real America's Voice on YouTube today.
I'm a J6er. I spent 1,143 days in prison.
I'm a J6er, and I spent 3 months in jail and about a year in prison.
I spent 4 years out of an 18-year sentence in prison.
J6ers have been smeared and defamed by the media, persecuted by the government, and treated like terrorists.
In reality, J6ers are patriotic men and women, mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers from all walks of life.
Stand in the Gap was founded to stand in the gap for J6ers working to rebuild their lives after being incarcerated.
And we need your help.
For just $10 or more, you're helping these patriots get mental, physical, and spiritual help.
Please scan the QR code or go to j6support.com to donate $10 or more to support these American patriots.
Thank you for being a patriot. Thank you for standing in the gap.
Flash a source in the chat. I love Real America's Voice because I can watch news being delivered to me live while I chat with the family I love.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Bridgie. And why do I love Rob? Well, even out here in the cornfields of Iowa, I still need news I can depend on. That is Real America's Voice.
Well, you know, the markets, yeah. NVIDIA puts out all these big profits and then gets beaten. I mean, it just goes way down. I'm like, wait a second. They just had a record, quarter, and we just had jobs numbers that came out that are better than expected. Anyhow, I think things are going to be fine. We'll see how it plays out. Let's go to Lisa. She's here in Michigan with me. Lisa, how are you?
Oh, I'm well. Yourself?
For a guy who's, getting clubbed in the markets, I'm all right. You?
Okay. I have a couple quick comments, and you can respond. I wish somebody would address the Smith-Mundt Act and why these journalists are allowed to lie on TV. And then another quick comment on these people that did the video with related to defying Trump's orders.
Yeah.
That is direct treason, in my opinion. And also, like Mark Milley, nothing is being addressed. And if it's not addressed, we do not have a military. You have a good day, sir.
Lisa, greatly appreciate the call here. Look, the fact of the matter is this. In law, in military law, you can't defy orders. It's against the law. What they're suggesting is contrary to the leadership, the civilian leadership of the United States military. And look, it's all here. This is called the United States Constitution. It's here. What they did is reckless and dangerous. And they're complaining because Donald Trump called them out for it. And that's a problem. Alyssa Slotkin, one of my senators, has come out along with Mark Kelly, another senator from Arizona, and sedition is under 18 U.S. Code 2387. Knowingly urging, advising, counseling members of the armed forces to disobey lawful orders. That is a crime in the United States. It is a crime in the United States. It's that simple. And so I don't think you can just let this pass. Now, Donald Trump said, penalty by death. Okay, maybe that was a step too far. Maybe it wasn't for you. That's why we have Free Speech, Free for All Friday, 877-310-9966. You can weigh in on that one, too. Greg is in Indiana. Greg, what's on your mind?
Oh, Steve. How you doing?
Good. What's up?
I was watching TV the other day, and up in Dearborn, Michigan, they had a riot, and I think they should bring ICE up there with a brigade of Marines and take them all and export them.
Well, Greg, that's not going to... I appreciate the phone call. Let me get right to that. There was not a riot. There was a scuffle between a guy who went up there to, I think, try to have a scuffle. I do. I think his intention was to get clicks and to create some sort of disturbance. It worked. And then there was a lot of back and forth at the city council meetings and so on and so forth. The guy that put together the march, Anthony Hudson, is running for governor in Michigan. He's a Republican. And he said he was treated very, very well. So, therefore, there's some mixed messages coming out of Dearborn. I don't think bringing a brigade of Marines in is going to solve anything, nor do I think it would be very popular politically. I think that what this administration needs to focus on primarily, yes, deport those that are here illegally. Make sure you don't have any homegrown terrorists, because we did have men arrested in Dearborn that were trying to go to Ferndale, another suburb of Detroit, back on Halloween, where they were going to create a terrorist attack. They wanted it to be like the terror attack at the nightclub in Paris, or like the one in Miami on gay nightclubs. I'm glad that didn't happen. I tip my hat to the FBI for making sure that didn't happen. But no, I don't think we need to land the Marines in Dearborn at this point. I think that's probably a bit misguided. Doug in Indiana, how are you today?
Hey, Steve. Good morning. God bless. Hey, I just got a question. Can you tell me what's going on with Tucker Carlson? Look, hold on. One of the rules here is this. I don't care about other show hosts. I don't know what's going on with Tucker Carlson. I don't talk to him. There are a lot of people that have different opinions. That's the great thing about America. You can have opinions, and you, sir, can decide who to listen to and who not to listen to. I'm glad you're here. But Tucker doesn't affect me. And I don't care to talk about Tucker Carlson or Candace Owen, generally speaking. I don't know where those folks are. You'd have to ask them specifically. Let's go to Dan in Tennessee. Dan, how are you?
I'm fine, Steve. Steve, are we dealing with the real issues of the Republican Party and a strategy so we can win the 2026 election?
No is the short answer, and here's why. Mamdani's going to the White House today. Mamdani's going to speak with Donald Trump. Mamdani has an opportunity here to stir up his base, to gin him up, because he's going to play tough guy with Trump. That's what I think. Or maybe he's going to be congenial. I don't know yet. I'm going to be watching it because I'm interested to see what happens. But if we don't get young people in America, young men have voted for Trump in big numbers, Gen Z men, but the women 82% of them voted for Mamdani, voted for socialism, voted for this garbage in New York City. If you don't figure out how to tell people that they can afford to get a home, to pay the rent, to buy groceries, to do whatever they want to do in their lives, we're going nowhere. It's about affordability. That is the bottom line, Dan. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see. We can get Bill in Indiana. Let's get it in quick. Bill, how are you?
Hey, I'm okay, Steve. Just got a couple of things to say. And the one thing is the only free cheese out there is in the mousetrap.
That's right.
And when you find your house full of vermin, you exterminate them. That's all I got to say.
Thank you, sir. Greatly appreciate. That's Bill in Indiana. We got a lot more to get to. You know, the one point that he made about the mouse and the mousetrap that I will equate to socialism is this. You thought the cheese was free. The cheese came with strings attached. So does socialism. So does communism. So does thinking that everything is free. It's not. It's the Steve Gruber Show.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
All right, programming note. We have got to change the music around here. I'm so sick of that one. Worn out with it. It happens. Let's go to Don in Texas on a Free Speech Free for All Friday. How's Texas, Don?
Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. What's on your mind?
Okay, Steve, I'm going to say something that I don't think anybody has said, but I believe the Senate is one of the most demonic places we have. And I believe I wouldn't put it past them to have something to do with assassinating of Charlie Kirk, because I wouldn't put nothing past them evil people up there. And another thing is, I think Jim Jordan is a total disgrace.
Why?
Jim Jordan is letting these judges run wild over Trump taking his powers, and he doesn't even consider having a hearing on this stuff.
All right, I greatly appreciate the call. You know, I don't like the fact that these judges do continue to run roughshod over the president. But I'll say this. The decision out of Texas on redistricting will get tossed out. It will. The dissent is like nothing I've ever read before. He basically calls both of his counterparts. It's a 3-judge panel, 2-1 ruling. The guy that dissented said that you guys have run afoul of the law. You guys are political. You guys are ignoring the law. And I'm just paraphrasing, but it's going to get tossed out by the Supreme Court. Mark my words. Nick is in Michigan. Nick, how are you today? What's up?
I just have a question. I'm wondering, I've been living in Michigan for a long time, and I'm just wondering, certain people can get bridge cards, but not to go to one race. The Middle Easterns are married by the American law. So you got a husband working, and they have 4 or 5 kids, and they're getting free bridge cards. So I'm wondering, is the government doing anything about that? Not to just...
I get your point, and I don't think it's just those folks. Here's the game that he's talking about, folks. You got 2 people that are cohabitating. They're not legally married under the law, so one goes and gets SNAP benefits, while the other one, you know, because they're not married, technically not married. Yeah, that's called fraud. I'll be right back.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Programming note for those of you in Lansing, Michigan. We're going to be switching stations on the 1st of December, I'm told. So we'll be at a new location. Won't change anything for you. If you listen online or you're streaming, just go to stevegruber.com, click on Listen Live. That will not change for you. If you follow us on X, Rumble, YouTube, we'll be there as we always are. No big deal. Just a small change for the folks in Lansing. Let's go to Barbara in Indiana. Barbara, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve. My husband and I listen to you every morning. We pray for you and Ivy and appreciate you.
Thank you.
My problem seems to be a pretty small issue compared to everyone, but I'm a tax-paying grandmother, and my grandson said there was a school dance, and my husband said, "Are you going?" And he said, "No, there's too many furries there." What's a furry? It's these demented children that pretend to be a cat or a dog, and so I just want to encourage everybody to send their child to school with a dog or a cat and make the school recognize that children need to be in school to learn, and that's what my tax-paying dollars are going for.
Amen.
And these other kids need mental issues. They need help somewhere else.
What we talked about, Barbara, thank you for a great call. What we talked about yesterday is incredibly true and incredibly important. We need more real men in America. Oh, and say prayers for Anthony, too. Don't forget about him in your prayers there, Barbara. But we need more real men in America, people that don't believe in this fantasy of toxic masculinity, which is false, by the way. Was it toxic masculinity that stormed the beaches of Normandy? Or were there at the bridges of Concord and Lexington? The people that fought to save this country at Guadalcanal and everywhere else, in the Battle of the Bulge, in the Black Forest? That's toxic masculinity. It's the people that built and saved this country. Risk takers. People that defend their family. Not furries. Let's go to Mary in Virginia. Mary, how are you today?
Hi. I have a lot of questions, and nobody seems to answer them.
All right.
I want to know how these Congress people and Senate can still hold seat when they're calling for an insurrection. How is it these judges aren't suspended from their bench or their duties for overriding our president? I don't understand all this.
I don't understand it either. It's a great call, Mary. Thank you for that. Look, here's the deal. What they called for, those senators and members of Congress, is a violation of U.S. law. We just put it up for you, right? And there's no question that what they did is wrong and that there's a violation of U.S. law. I don't know if anything's going to happen, but for them to stand there as members of the United States Senate and members of the United States Congress and say, do not take unlawful orders. What unlawful orders are you referring to? For which they have no answer and for which there is no explanation except that they're calling for insurrection. I agree with that. I think what they did is completely reckless, wrong, and dangerous. I could not possibly agree more. It was completely out of line, should not be allowed, and there should be questions asked, serious questions asked. Meanwhile, you've got other members of Congress, Democrats, that are texting back and forth with Jeffrey Epstein during hearings, having him feed the questions, and they get a complete pass. You got another Democrat member of Congress who apparently embezzled $5 million from FEMA. She's still in there today. How is that? It's called double standards is what it is. Josh is in Ohio. Josh, how are you today?
Good. How you doing, Steve, man? Love you, man.
Good. What's on your mind?
Hey, so I've been a general contractor. Started my first business in North Carolina in 2005. I'm from Oregon State, believe it or not. Bend, Oregon. My grandparents are missionaries in Japan. I lived in Japan. I speak Japanese. Okay, backstory a little bit. But what I see as the problem is, okay, we don't have enough houses. Okay, they're doing land grabs. That's a whole other side episode, right? But the thing is we don't have, like, as me as a business owner, to go and put a crew together to build a house for you, I don't have the guys that from the United States, young men, white men, and young whatever men, right, that are Americans, native-born Americans, that have the skill to do that. So what I propose is in every state we do a co-op that's owned by the people, right? And through those, we teach all the trades. We teach animal husbandry. We teach agriculture. We build tiny homes for the local community. Also, we build up the men's ministries, like you were talking about yesterday.
Yeah, we need that for sure. All right, let me work through this. I got to leave it there. So here's the thing. He's exactly right. Josh is exactly right. We need more carpenters, plumbers, electricians, farmers, animal husbandry. We need all of that in America. And I think that he's onto something right there. We need trade schools that are promoted and supported by the states to teach all of these skills. We had this idea, and the colleges and universities love this. Send everybody to college. Get your transgender degree so you're completely unemployable and have $100,000 in debt and therefore on the hook to the government, where they come back and say, you know what, we'll pay off your student debt if you vote for us. Buying votes, just like they do with Social Security and the Affordable Care Act. It's not about taking care of the people. It's about taking care of their votes and taking care of their power. And again, they go from being like MTG, being worth $700,000 5 years ago, to being worth $25 million today. And I'm not picking on her. She's just an example. There are far more egregious examples, but that's what all the reading leads me to understand. How is that even possible? You go to Congress, you make $150,000 a year, and suddenly you're worth $25 million. If all of us could do that, we'd be a lot happier. Phil in Michigan, how are you today?
Yes, Steve, I appreciate you receiving my phone call. A couple of quick points. Grew up in Bozeman, Montana myself in the 70s. It was a great place to grow up. First point I have to make is a regular soldier is not going to know the difference between a lawful and unlawful order. So technically they need to obey the order and then afterwards question it to their superior and go from there with proper channels.
Correct.
Secondly, the next point I have is to make sure that Mondani and Trump meeting is televised.
Oh, it will be.
To make sure that we take the rug from underneath his feet so he doesn't have a platform to stand on.
Agreed.
Your
Phil,
comments, sir?
Great phone call. Thank you, Bozeman. It was a great town when I lived there, too, in the 1980s and early 90s. Great town then, not so much now. It's exploded in size. There's 10 billion people there, too many from California. The Mamdani thing will be televised right here on Real America's Voice about 3 o'clock, about the time I would normally be on the air for my afternoon show. We're going to be live at the Oval Office watching the conversation. I guarantee you that, so don't miss it right here on Real America's Voice. Come on, let's see. Pete in Tennessee. We get one more in. Pete, how are you?
I'm good. Yes, sir. What I was calling about is I want to tell everybody I am surprised and happy that I have seen so many good young men and women in the last 5 years or better. But what I think we need to do for sure is get Laura Trump back in the RNC and get rid of a bunch of them old dudes like what you're talking about, and then put some of these young people in there that are ready to rock, and they'll fight. All our
here's
young
the thing.
people are not.
I agree with you, Pete. Here's the problem between here and there. The cost of everything. It's been great, and if Donald Trump can get a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia, that is fabulous. But he better pivot right down to what makes things affordable. He better be domestic policy between here and November of 26, or we're going to get clubbed like a baby seal. Mark it.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
My My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered, as you know, by Patriot Mobile and the Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Back to your phone calls in a minute, but first, I have a very special guest from Patriot Mobile. It's Danielle Buck, the VP of Strategic Partnerships for Patriot Mobile. Danielle, nice to see you today. Thank you for being here.
Great to be on, Steve.
Now, I have bragged on your company for years. First of all, I've used Patriot Mobile for years. I've traveled both domestically and abroad. I've had great service, great results. Love the company. When I have an issue, I can talk to somebody who speaks English, and they live here in the United States. Very special to me. Switching was very easy. It used to be such a pain. It's not a pain, but it's really easy to do. But you guys are also very involved with things that I care about. For 12 years now, you guys have been involved with really important things. And I want to talk about a couple of those things because I brag on you. I want people to know. How about the Warrior Rising event? This is something to help former military people get a leg up in this world. Tell me what this is all about.
Yeah, so it's an amazing organization who was actually started by a veteran who realized most veterans, when they leave serving our country, they don't quite fit in corporate America, as many of you know. Right. And so many are hardworking Americans with brilliant ideas. And so what Warrior Rising does is they help these veterans actually get trained. So they actually have a master class that they can do, whether they're actually stationed abroad or back home, and they can be trained on how to start a business. And then they can actually write a proposal for a business and apply to get to go to a pitch competition. They do this 4 times a year, and then they bring in the top 25 to actually pitch to a panel of judges to get some feedback from them. And then they pick first, second, third, and fourth place winners that actually get seed money to start that business. So they're empowering these veterans to come home, feel amazing, have this idea, and then go forth and do it, and which is, amazing. And getting to be a judge. Patriot Mobile has gotten to be a judge now multiple times this year and last year. And we just love it because it just is, you can see the life in them come out when they have this idea. They want to bring it to America and to help people, right? They have an innovation or they have something that will help make our life easier. And so it's so awesome to get to help these veterans in this way.
And it's so hard to get seed money to start a company. Everybody knows that. If they have a chance to go learn some things and have an idea and take that spark and deliver it, and you guys can say, we like that, man, what an uplifting program.
Yeah, it really was phenomenal. I've gotten to interview a couple of the former winners, and it really, it changes the game for them to actually get the money to start the business. One of them I spoke to had an app. One of them actually is able to get a lot more contracts to build the product that they have. So, obviously it kind of run the gamut as far as types of businesses, but it is awesome for Patriot Mobile to get to say, hey, you are a veteran, you are an entrepreneur, and we want to stand with you.
Now, just a moment ago, speaking of veterans, just before you came on, you spoke about this remarkable thing you were able to witness with one of these new exoskeletons for a paralyzed veteran. I've seen this. You saw it in person. Explain to the folks listening what we're talking about here, but it gives mobility back to those who are otherwise restricted to a wheelchair or worse. Tell me about this.
Yeah, so it's a recent organization to Patriot Mobile, but not a recent organization in general. They're called Soldier Strong, and it's actually a guy who survived 9/11, a first responder, had a lot of friends that were paralyzed and realized there was a need. And so he found these amazing companies that have these exoskeletons. There's multiple that make them, but he basically said, we need to get these into the hands of these first responders and veterans who've lost limbs or have been paralyzed because of their service. And so I actually had one of them come in just 2 days ago, right here actually in the studio, and share with me his journey of obviously becoming paralyzed, what that did to him as a man, and then receiving this exoskeleton and then getting to use it and getting to look someone in the eye again, getting to coach his daughter's softball team. He got tears in his eyes. He talks about being able to walk his daughter down the aisle.
How amazing.
It changed his life. Yeah.
So basically what it is, it's an electronic suit. That's the way I would describe it. It's an electronic suit that can give you the strength or create the ability for you to stand, to walk his daughter down the aisle. What a remarkable partnership that is.
Yeah, it's amazing technology, and that's one of the reasons why Patriot Mobile wants to be part of Soldier Strong, because they're not only giving it to guys like Sergeant Cherry Holmes that I interviewed, but also to these VA clinics where these guys who have an injury and they're going in for rehab, and they can use this exoskeleton to create more mobility. It actually helps them so their muscles don't atrophy. And so we are in the process of actually trying to give them more money so they can bring one to the VA clinic in San Antonio, which is a huge military base. As you know, I think they serve 35,000 veterans just in that one base. So we think about gifting something like that, $150,000 machine to one clinic and how many veterans it can help. So that's what your money does when you join Patriot Mobile, right? You pay a cell phone bill, but then you're giving money to Soldier Strong and changing this guy's life. I mean, it was truly remarkable to get to talk to him and to see just how having this amazing machine has changed him.
And that's why I wanted to have you on, Danielle, is because Patriot Mobile does so many amazing things out in the community. When tragedy strikes, you delivered chainsaws and equipment to Texas here earlier this year. You've been involved in so many acts of kindness and patriotism. That's why I love Patriot Mobile for that reason. Now, today, we've got a couple of offers for the folks here listening on Free for All Friday. Why don't you go ahead and roll those out for us?
Sure. So we have 2 free months. So you can bring your phone number. And right now, using the promo code HOLIDAY25, you can get 2 free months on Patriot Mobile. Most people have one of the major carriers, and that's where their kind of hesitation is. Oh, I don't know, my phone might not work. Well, it's going to work exactly the same. We have all 3 of the major networks. You will be on the exact same network, having the same, if not actually better coverage. And right now you can try us out for 2 free months using the code HOLIDAY25 promo code. And
Holiday25, there you go. And go ahead, Samsung
25.
users.
And if you're a Samsung user, or maybe you have a kid, you're wanting to give them a phone for Christmas, we have a special. It is a Samsung A16 phone that we will give you for free if you use the code FRIDAY25. And it is an amazing phone if you're a Samsung user, and I know that many people would love to have it. And we'd love for you to join Patriot Mobile so we can continue to give to these amazing organizations like Warrior Rising and Soldier Strong by having more of you out there join us.
Danielle Buck, thank you for being here. What a great company. That's why I tell you guys, if you're not a customer of Patriot Mobile, you should be today. 2 great offers. Patriot Mobile offering Holiday 25 and Friday 25. Danielle, thank you so much.
Thanks, Steve. Great to be on with you.
Greatly appreciate it. Again, Holiday 25 for 2 free months. And if you're a Samsung user, Friday 25, a free Samsung A16. Free speech, free for all Friday will continue after this.
It's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
My name is Phoebe, and I live in Florida. I love Real America's Voice. They truly speak for the people, and that's what real patriotism is all about.
Hi, this is Chris from Colorful Colorado. I'm drawbridge in the Getter Chat. I trust no one for my news except Real America's Voice. So if anyone asks, I was never here.
I want to get right back to the phone calls now on the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Thomas in Pennsylvania has been patient. Thomas, how are you today?
Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about the economy for a minute, if that's okay.
Yeah, real quick. Go.
Okay, so I've been seeing in the polls that a lot of people are not happy with the Trump administration over the current state of the economy or how he's handling it. But what people also have to realize is that for the last 4 years, the Biden administration completely destroyed the economy, sent inflation in sky high, and through experience, from my own experience, it takes mere seconds to destroy something and possibly weeks to fix it. So people need to understand that. But the one thing I do believe is that if fuel prices, specifically diesel, if diesel were to come down to $2.50 a gallon, I am sure the economy would just kick off.
Yeah, I think that if diesel were cheaper, I agree with that. I don't know why. I paid $2.64 for gas here a few days ago, and I don't understand this. Thanks for the call. I've never understood this. Nobody does. In fact, it's hocus pocus. $2.64 a week ago, and then it jumps to $3.19, like in a day. The price of oil has not changed. It's at about $60 to $65. West Texas Intermediate and Brent crude, the benchmark, they've stayed the same for weeks now. Yet gas jumps all over. I've never understood that. You probably don't either. Judy in Michigan, you're next. How are you?
Hi there. Perfect call to follow up. I'm calling to talk about metrics. The Trump administration needs to do a better job of saying, simply, here's what something cost under Joe Biden. Here is what inflation was under Joe Biden. Here is what it is today. Caroline Leavitt could do that once a week, and
so
is
should
what
the
will
president
resonate with people.
Yeah, Judy, I think you're right. Great call.
I totally agree.
Thank you very much. Great call. Great calls as always. We'll do it for 2 more hours. I'll get to David, Brian, Tom, Scott, and so many more of you. 877-310-9966. That's the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, a free-for-all Friday here on the Steve Gruber Show.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan